Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabbihi ajmain. Apa khabar semua? Yang saya hormati Presiden WADAH Datuk Haji Ahmad Azam Abdul Rahman, pimpinan WADAH, seterusnya pimpinan ABIM, PKPM, dan juga tak tertinggal juga ketiga-tiga panel kita pada petang ini. Namun saya ada satu pantun untuk kita semua. Apa khabar sahabat semua? Kita di IDCC dari pagi hingga ke saat ini. Jom kita semua teruskan sidang 3. Impian Perdana Menteri kita menjadikan inspirasi. Jadi apakah dia impian Perdana Menteri kita? Kalau kita masih ingat ya, pada 9 hingga 10 Oktober yang lalu, Perdana Menteri kita Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim telah pun menyertai delegasi ke sidang Komuniti ASEAN. Apa yang berlaku, saudara-saudari sekalian? Maka beliau telah dilantik ya sebagai pengerusi ASEAN untuk tahun 2025. Jadi justru beliau telah pun menyatakan ya hasrat beliau terhadap komitmen beliau untuk meneruskan ya memperkenalkan logo ASEAN Malaysia 2025 dengan tema keterangkuman dan kemampanan. Jadi saya rasa tajuk pada petang ini iaitu melibatkan ya pemberdayaan komuniti dan penggerak kedamaian, peranan pemimpin masyarakat dalam komuniti ASEAN. Okay, which is community empowerment and peace building, the role of community leaders in ASEAN community. So we would like to actually, such a great pleasure to have 3 of panels today. The first one is Dr. Alizaman di Gamon, yeah? Assistant Professor, Department of Fundamental and Interdisciplinary Studies, IIUM. He is originally from Philippines, so he has been here for 20 years, isn't it? Alright. So, and then the second panel is actually Associate Professor Dr. Pakorn Priyakorn, member of the Academic and Ulama Council of the Sheikhul Islam of Thailand. Welcome to Malaysia. Okay. And then the third one is actually Dr. Ahmad Muhammady, orang Malaysia, boleh cakap Melayu, insya-Allah. Dan beliau merupakan Assistant Professor di ISTAC UIA, right? So basically saya teruskan ya kepada ahli panel kita yang pertama, iaitu Dr. Alizaman. So basically Dr. Alizaman ya merupakan pakar yang tidak asing lagi dalam bidang Islamic Studies, ya. So kepakaran beliau adalah dalam Islamic Studies untuk memperkembangkan keberdayaannya dan especially melibatkan komuniti di Filipina. Jadi saya rasa kita sangat suntuk masa pada petang ini. Jadi without any ado, I would like again to remind all the panels that you have been given 20 minutes, yeah, to present your slot. Okay, so without any delays, I would like to welcome Dr. Alizaman.
Auzubillahi minasyaitanirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala sahbihi ajmain. Amma ba'd. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to express my profound thanks and gratitude to Datuk Ahmad Azam Abdul Rahman, President of WADAH, Datuk Dr. Muhammad Nur Manuti, Chairman of PKIM, and Tuan Haji Azizuddin Ahmad, Setiausaha Agung WADAH, for giving me this opportunity to share my humble reflections on a topic that holds a great significance in my intellectual journey as a student of Islam, its culture and tradition. Now, allow me to just to define here and to explain to you what is the importance of my subject matter. The title of my paper presentation is Fostering a Knowledge Culture and Peace, the Role of Muslim Community Leaders in Shaping Empowerment and Peace-Building Efforts in the Philippines. Now, reflecting on the, let us say, the discussions this morning and the previous panels, we can draw few important observations. And of course, this first observation has something to do with the multifaceted problems that we are facing. Now, if the problem that we are facing are multifaceted, therefore we need a kind of comprehensive approach that may entail or include ethical, spiritual, and cultural values into our strategy. So this is very important for all of us, the community in the region, to come up with a strategic, let us say, strategic approach in dealing with our problem. Now, another emphasis, reflections that I can draw from the arguments given by the previous speakers is about the importance of having a community leaders. And these community leaders must be, they must have a very good understanding of the local context, the tradition, and the shared human, let us say, shared humanity embedded in our worldview. Now, when I mention this local context, traditions, and shared humanity embedded in our worldview, what I exactly want you to consider is that we need a leader. You know, this competent leader that we need. Now, over the years, we have witnessed, of course, the Iranian Revolution in 1979. The OIC establishment in 1969, the first World Conference on Islamic Education in 1977. Now, these movements, as we know, have provided a blueprint, a framework for Muslim community leaders as well as the intellectuals to address issues on political activism, social reform, and of course, education. And addressing education, as we all know, you need leaders in education system, you know, who can embrace the so-called justice, compassion, and responsibility. These leaders must be responsible of putting justice and coming up with an idea of education that is inclusive and it is morally grounded and capable of guiding prosperous and ethical nation building. Now, and obviously the purpose of this presentation is actually to reassess the current discourse on peace building and power and empowerment in order for the advancement of the ASEAN 2025 objectives, in which it gives emphasis on political security, humanity, economic community, socio-cultural community. Now, the realization of these three areas can only be approached through fostering a proper knowledge culture. And this is actually the purpose of my presentation, that I am here to propose a new knowledge culture, which is actually integrated by its nature, coming up or derived from the Islamic epistemology or the Tawhidic paradigm. Okay, and looking at also some of the implications of the presentation this morning, and then they were emphasizing about the importance to learn the truth. We have to learn the truth in order for us to know the error. We don't want to go back to those mistakes, especially back in the Philippines. There were so many government policies which is actually to be considered as experimental government experiments to the Muslims. And we Muslims in the Philippines, we cannot go back on those failed government experiments. And therefore, the role of the Muslim community leaders in the country is to rethink all the proper methodology to be adapted and to recontextualize it in what way that it could be implemented in the Philippines. Now, this is quite important for all of us because you see, the peace-building initiatives, they have not really captured let us say, the whole spectrum of what do you mean by peace. Because based on Islam, we have to understand that peace starts from within. That's what we call inner peace, the sakina. Then the interpersonal peace, the muasala, the community peace, the islah, the national peace, the wahda, the regional peace, salam al-iqlimi, and the global peace, salam al-alam. Now, you see, the current, let us say, theories, initiatives, frameworks, policies on peace and empowerment, they have not really captured this, let us say, holistic understanding of peace. Now, so allow me to, to reiterate three important concepts that I believe very important, let us say, keywords in understanding the theme of our, let us say, discussion today. Because these three words, like for example, holistic empowerment, moving beyond positivism in nation building, reclaiming traditional Islamic conversation for peace making, these are the three key concepts that I am proposing that we need to profoundly understand its meaning, because these three concepts clarifies the meaning, it provides us a proper methodology, and it gives us strategies that is doable, practical, that can be adopted, and it is not restricted to a given time and space, but rather it is a universal strategy that we have to embrace because of, let us say, historically, it has led into the so-called, during the peak of cultural, let us say, peak of Islamic civilization, we call it the golden age of Islam. So we are going to derive from those concepts. Now, number one, we cannot deny the fact that we are facing now the challenge of, let us say, secular thought. Now, this is about secularism. And when you talk about secularism, with regards to peace building and empowerment, the emphasis is very materialistic, very materialistic. It refers only on things that you can see. Refers to political participation, economic participation, and institutional participation. We have to go beyond that understanding, Then after that, we need a kind of holistic approach. What do you mean by this holistic approach that we are suggesting in this forum? We want spiritual empowerment. We want cultural empowerment. And this empowerment, once it is properly understood by the community, then it enrich our knowledge culture. So enriching the knowledge culture of this region is very crucial. Now looking at, in the case of the Philippines, this secular thought is really posing a big challenge to all of us, especially on the issue of dualistic approach. You know, dualistic approach to politics, dualistic approach to education, which is actually segregating, dividing what is religious and what is not. Okay, and Muslim in the Philippines have been marginalized because of this dualism that we have to address here. Then another important concept here is how to go beyond the positivism approach in nation building. Now, of course, moving beyond, because we have understood that positivism focuses on quantitative aspects. When I say quantitative aspect, you can measure. When you talk about empowerment, then your measurement is the way people can, let us say, it is being displayed, manifested in his, for example, in his life or in the society. So this is actually this particular approach of empowerment and peace building neglects the so-called identity issues, the moral leadership, and of course the social justice. Now, therefore, in the case of the Philippines, we have witnessed how Muslim intellectuals as well as leaders have tried to recontextualize the so-called ethical governance. Now, in the establishment of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, the theme of that government is in order to understand what do we mean by moral governance. Not only a responsible government, but the emphasis is moral governance. And it is anticipated that if this moral governance can be realized in the country, then it will become a good model for the entire region, especially addressing the problem of the minorities in the South. Now, another important thing is the cultural preservation. Why do we need to preserve our culture? Now, peace advocates also emphasizes about preservation of Muslim identity. Now, this Muslim identity, if you are preserving your identity and you are proud of preserving it because of, let us say, the rich tradition, the rich intellectual tradition of your culture, then you are encouraging the youth. Because nowadays, we have many youth who are losing confidence on Islam. Believe me, and we have to address this problem, because if we want to empower our community, then the youth are the future leaders of our respective community. Then you have to bring, you have to, what do you call this, mold their mind in a way that they will establish a kind of confidence on Islam. And in the Philippines, there are so many Muslims who are not even proud of being Muslim, because when they, for example, in the Christian areas, sometimes they just take off their tudong because of their fear of being labeled as Moros. And historically, when you talk about Moros, it is always associated with negativity. So because of, let us say, that kind of stereotypes against Islam, so some of these Muslim youth who are not strong enough about their culture, so they have to jeopardize, they have to undermine the importance of their cultural aspects. So again, another important aspect in this moving beyond positivism is the importance of Islamic philosophy in interfaith dialogue, in which Dr. Alwani have already emphasized. But the point here is how this dialogue can bridge the gap between the two opposing community. And this is actually the big challenge for all of us, because you see, we need an active participation, involvement in the national policy making. Because if the Muslim communities are not actually contributing important ideas in the policy making, how can we change? How can you tell people that we are Muslim and we are the kuntum khairu umma ukhrijat linnas ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar, if we cannot prove that we are active in crafting national laws, especially with regards to reform in education and legal institutions. The third point that I am mentioning here is about reclaiming the traditional Islamic conversation for peace building. What does it mean here? You know, what do we have to reclaim? What do we have to reclaim? We have reclaimed something that has been lost. And what has been lost due to the influence of many isms, secularism, liberalism, and so on and so forth. So we have to reclaim the conversation. And what is that conversation? And again, this conversation should provide a kind of conducive environment, conducive intellectual exchange, conducive intellectual change. Because what is happening now, because the time is moving very fast, what is happening now is the blind imitation. The blind imitation of the Muslim communities towards the prevalent approaches to peace building, like for example, the SDGs. Obviously, we are not opposing the SDGs framework, but we are here to enrich the sustainable development goals when it comes to peace. You see, now, what I am suggesting here is a kind of synthesis. A kind of synthesis to engage intellectuals and policymakers. Now, what do we mean by a synthesis here? It is harmony between the old tradition and the new approach. You see, it is a harmonious synthesis between Islamic tradition and the modern approach of today. And that synthesis should be beneficial to all. You know, and I think when it comes to Cambodia, Myanmar, and so on, we need to work very hard to come up with this comprehensive synthesis so that we can present Islam, and this presentation of Islam is beneficial to everybody. We are not only talking about empowering the Muslim, but we are also talking about how to empower the non-Muslim through our tradition. Now, the next point, how many minutes do I have now? My God, 2 minutes. I have just finished the three concepts here, right? But anyway, if you will allow me, so let me look at one important concept that I would like to emphasize here. Now, let me jump to this, recognizing the importance of an integrated knowledge culture. Now, as we navigate in these complexities of our cultural landscape, I'm talking about complexity of our cultural landscape, influenced by geopolitics, influenced by external ideologies, and so on and so forth. Now, we need actually to integrate. And when you talk about integration here, okay, in the case of the Philippines, we know how much we face a kind of challenge in integrating. You know, when you talk about integrating, what to integrate? Who is going to integrate? And believe me, you know, the one who can integrate is a true scholar. A true scholar. Who is these scholars? The scholars of the text and the scholar of the context. The scholar of the text are those who are well profound, well trained in understanding the sacred text, the son of the prophet. At the same time, they are exposed to the realities of the world. So this is about how to bring those concepts and integrate it with the so-called contemporary context. So this is actually a very important, let us say, initiative that peace building should go towards integration. And in the Philippines, we have this kind of Philippine National Integration Program. And what is this integration, by the way? In 1960s and 70s, NI, National Integration Project of the Philippines, they established the Mindanao State University in order to, let us say, produce education, right, for the Muslim, and this is a recognition of their cultural identity. Now, what is the reality of Mindanao State University at the beginning? Of course, Mindanao State University was established, was championed by the first Muslim senators in the Philippines by the name Dumuko Ahmad Alonto Sr. Now, what is his understanding? Definitely, his understanding about integration is cultural integration. And to us, when you talk about cultural integration, it is not an integration that is embedded in the so-called secular concept of integration, which is actually inevitably resulting into assimilation, right? Assimilation. So, Muslim communities in the Philippines are, to some extent, been assimilated into the national system. Okay? And as a result of that, of course, Muslim communities have to respond. And in order for them to respond, there were important government, let us say, policies for that kind of recognition that Muslims should be governed by their legal system. The Code of Muslim Personal Law was enacted enacted by the government, and this law, the Sharia law, which is actually confined to Muslim personal law. And also we were given the opportunity to reform our education. And now, few months ago, I went to the Philippines, and thank you so much for Triple IT for sponsoring the workshop on on the issue of IOK, Islamization of knowledge as the framework for education reform, in which I brought the concept of Al-Hikmah pedagogy. And this Al-Hikmah pedagogy has been very much successful in the Malaysian context. And now, reinforcing the government initiative for educational reform, for example, the curriculum, they call it Matatag. Matatag is a tough curriculum according to the concept of Matatag. So what do you mean by Matatag here? Which means once you have been trained in that curriculum, then you will become empowered to address the problem. But when we bring the Al-Hikmah pedagogy, then it gives a new dimension to what do you mean by peace building via education and empowerment via education. Okay, so therefore, anyway, I have few more slides, and believe me, I have prepared. I was really expecting that I will be given ample time to expand my arguments here. But anyway, I hope you will ask me a question with regards to the current situation in the Philippines affecting the legal institutions, the educational institution, and even Islamic banking and finance, as well as the halal industry. And very recently, for your information, I brought the group of intellectuals and scholars in IIUM so that they can replicate our program on Islamic banking and finance in the Philippines. And now, out of that, Mindanao State University is now offering Islamic banking and finance. And what is the problem in the program? We need lecturers who are holistic, who are integrated in their education so that they can teach the so-called Islamic banking and finance in the secular country, the Philippines. Another important improvement in the Philippines is about the halal industry. Now, halal industry at the beginning, they were reluctant to accept the kind of approach because it has a religious identity. Halal is religion. So now what we Muslim intellectuals in the Philippines have presented to the government is about halal from economic point of view. So when they understand the economic aspect, all right, in, let us say, towards the economic roadmap of the country, then the government come up with a law. And they come up already, it's already enacted, that law that halal industry must be developed in the Philippines because of its positive contribution to the economy. So now, what I can, to sum up my discussion is that because of the presence of the knowledge culture, which is integrated, which is actually embedded in accordance with the Torah of Islam, then Muslims are now experiencing a kind of meaningful change at the midst of secular approach, the separation of the church and the state. And the presence of Muslim intellectuals in the Philippines who have a kind of integrated knowledge, now they have been accepted by the government, and their ideas have been taken as, let us say, it has a kind of significance in reshaping, let us say, the present government landscape. And I believe that with many Muslim scholars in the Philippines will be having this kind of new knowledge culture, which is integrated by its nature, enriched through the Tawhidic, let us say, approach, Tawhidic worldview. Inshallah, we will follow the footsteps of the development that is taking place in Malaysia, especially during the administration of our big brother, Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Alizaman. Yeah, you make it 20 minutes. Alright, so basically apa yang diulaskan oleh Dr. Alizaman tadi adalah berkisarkan tentang cabaran utama yang dihadapi oleh pemimpin masyarakat dalam menggalakkan pemberdayaan komuniti, especially melibatkan pimpinan agama di Filipina dalam konteks kepelbagaian budaya dan agama. Jadi seterusnya kita pergi kepada panel yang kedua, iaitu Profesor Dr. Pakorn. So izinkan saya untuk perkenalkan beliau. Beliau mempunyai Masters dan PhD dari University of Cambridge dalam bidang Public Management, dan dari segi position yang beliau pangku adalah Member of Ulama and Expert Community of the Sheikhul Islam of Thailand. Dalam masa yang sama, beliau juga adalah advisor of the Executive Committee of the Halal Standard Institute of Thailand dan juga representative of the Kingdom of Thailand in the Standards and Metrology Institute for Islamic Countries, Organisation for Islamic Cooperation, OIC. Jadi kita akan pendengarkan apa yang beliau akan ulaskan. So without any ado, I would like to welcome you, Prof.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin wa bihi nasta'in. Dato' Ahmad Asam Abdul Rahman, President of WADAH Civil Society, Organizing Committee, Brothers and Sisters in Islam, member of one of the biggest civil society organization in the world. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It gives me great pleasure and privilege to be a part of this gathering. To my experience, I think it is one of the most exciting to participate only one day here. I feel the movement of your WADAH group will be very, very, fruitful in terms of moving not only your country, but all of the ASEAN communities to work together and to move together into what I call the best example that Muslim can show that we can develop the society with the ideas of principle and model of Islam. The topic of my presentation today, and of course my colleagues who is coming to present his ideas and views, I consider it is very important in terms of moving together in order to create what I call the new paradigm of social innovation and sustainable development. My presentation today is about community empowerment and peace building. Of course, we will focus on the role of community leaders in ASEAN communities. So I try to focus not only our Muslim society, but also those other religious groups and beliefs who have to work together in order to show the world that ASEAN community will be one of the best part of this particular world. Before going, I would like to take this opportunity to convey a message from Sheikhul Islam of Thailand to you all. And he asked me to send his sincere gratitude and appreciation to WADAH Society. In fact, if he had time, he will come to visit you by himself. And I know from the government that Sheikhul Islam of Thailand will visit the Prime Minister of Malaysia next month, maybe on the 25th or 26th of November. If I have a chance, I maybe come with him. My presentation today will cover with the importance of both community empowerment and peace building initiative by give you some example of what we have been doing in Thailand over the past 60 years and change the paradigm over the past 20 years or so. And then I end up with, and I will focus mainly on the last part of my presentation, that is the role of the community leaders in community empowerment and peace building. These two ideas seem to be very important this day, because you can say that most of the Western scholars try to portray that they are the champion of freedom, the champion of peace, but in fact, at the moment, there are a lot of violence going on in the Western communities. So, as I mentioned before, we have to try to work hard together, even though we have to work under the condition of each particular context in your country. The first point I would like to consider deeply, apart from one of my colleagues from Philippines had shown, I think the meaning of community empowerment, if we summarize into one of the simple terms, I consider that, number one, community empowerment is a process that helps communities gain more control over their life and the decisions that impact them. Secondly, it involves, and I think this is very important, the community working together to identify and address their priorities and to influence the services and activities that affect them. So these two components are very important when you are working to let your community to have the power of determination. In terms of principle of community empowerment, I divide into 5 critical ideas and views. Number one is community control. It is very important to put into this particular point because it supports the community in taking more control over decision and assets. The second principle is the public sector leadership. When I put the term public sector, it doesn't mean the public organization, but it is the partnership between public, private, and non-governmental organization. So it is very strong and clear leadership on community empowerment, set the tone and cultures of organization. The third principle is the effective relationships. This is very important because when we are talking about relationship, it fosters a sense of connection and engagement of building effective relationship between public bodies, local communities, and local partners, whether they be Muslim or non-Muslim. The fourth principle is about improving outcomes of the community empowerment. That is to say, we have to evaluate whether outcomes for local communities are improving, and of course, most importantly, inequality are being reduced. And the final one, the fifth principle, I consider the importance of accountability. I mean to say every organization concerned in communities have to be accountable and transparent. This slide shows the importance of community empowerment by considering, number one, community empowerment is about supporting people to take more control over their life. Number two, empowerment in a community is crucial for fostering resilience, inclusivity, and sustainable development. Here are some key essential reasons. The first one is community empowerment enhance people participation, which lead to collaboration and cooperation that will build confidence as well as social cohesion. This will be very important in terms of creating resilience by means of economic development. And then it's going to be, and I call it work-life balance between sustainable solution and improved health and well-being of the member of community. I will try to let you know the example from community empowerment in Thailand. We began this type of empowerment long time ago, nearly 70 years, by following the step of royal initiative projects led by late King Rama IX. You know the famous of this role model king. Enhancing the capacity of local communities to participate actively in decision-making processes, address their needs, and improve overall quality of life. Of course, participation in governance of local authority, as well as capacity building of non-governmental organizations, seem to be the key of the empowerment of the communities. The economic development by public fund vis-a-vis microfinances to create livelihood and reduce poverty. Then social cohesion and networking seem to be very important, and we try to do a lot of things in terms of creating the so-called social cohesion by means of environment stewardship, health and education initiative, together with cultural preservation. I have no time to go into detail, but I have a short article. If you want this article, you can ask from management of WADAH, because I gave my short essay to the coordinators. Now come to the term which is easy to read but difficult to make it happen. That is peace building in the communities. I divide this particular point into 3 dimensions. The first one is the initiate various activities and strategies to create, I call it a culture of peace. Peace should be a culture. If that culture happens, of course, the conflicts will be resolved together with foster social cohesion. This is the first dimension that brings to conflict resolution together with inclusive participation. The second dimension is education and awareness. Of course, we have to increase conflict resolution skills together with human rights movement. Human rights movement should be practiced, not just saying, but not like in the Western society. But in the Eastern society, human rights seem to be the concrete solution in every country in Eastern society. And of course, the nature of importance of tolerance. With when we read Al-Quran, you can see the term Sobat seems to be very important in every type of working. The third dimension is about promoting economic opportunities. That is to say, initiatives that provide job training, support local businesses, and create economic opportunities for all. Opportunity for all. I repeat it again. Not opportunity to some of the group. Of course, if we can do that, cultural exchange will happen together with proactive measures to create and sustain a peaceful and harmonious environment. So if we understand clearly like this, peace will be going on. But we have to maintain it all the time. We cannot stop it. In Thailand, we are focused on addressing conflicts, promoting social cohesion, and fostering reconciliation. Of course, Thailand is very lucky that we have no type of religious conflict at all. But other type of conflicts such as politics, economics, seem to be very, very, prominent at the moment. But if we focus on a sort of addressing conflict and promoting social cohesion, I repeat it again, social cohesion. When we divide the activities of promoting peace building in Thailand into categories. The first category is about dialogue and mediation. Of course, we have to promote discussion in address grievance and build trust. And of course, the supporting of education and awareness campaigns, particularly promoting understanding of peace, tolerance, and cultural diversity, will create and will bring about cultural and religious initiatives. Of course, cultural diversity is everywhere, and we have to promote the so-called interfaith dialogue among religious groups. Sheikhul Islam of Thailand, everyone after the year 1932, we try to prolong this type of movement inside Muslim community. But we also invite non-Muslim community to work together with us, whether they be in the mosque, in the temple, in the church of Catholic, or even in the local authority as such. The second dimension is about community-based conflict resolution. This is the most important part of peace building in everywhere, not only in my country. Of course, we are very sorry about the situation in Cambodia, in the Philippines, or even in Vietnam during the Vietnam War, or at the moment in Myanmar. Thailand have to work together with CLMV country. That is our duty to help any community in 5 countries to work together in order to empower communities to address disputes internally. This one will support by involvement of civil society, like we do here in WADAH civil organization or civil society organization. Of course, this one should be very actively participate in peace building effort, advocates for human rights, and of course support affected communities. In the past 20 years, we have serious conflict in southern part of the countries, particularly in the third and the southernmost 3 provinces 20 years ago. But we try to work hard in order to set up the I call it new paradigm of working together without any type of conflict at all. And of course, young generation is one of the most important factor in prolonging the so-called peace building. We cannot ignore the movement of the young generation. I remember that when I was very young, I worked in the community every day. When I was the student, I was the president of Thai Muslim Student Association, and then to be the vice president of Young Muslim Association of Thailand. And then when I have been working for so long, I was very active to be the president of Islamic Center of Thailand. So those are the civil organization among Muslim communities. Youth engagement, I repeat it again, we learn from Abim a lot. We learn and we work together a lot during the movement of Abim that was led by your Prime Minister this day, Anwar Ibrahim. Give a big hand to him. Because empowering young people foster a culture of peace and resilience for the future. I end up my presentation by looking into what I call the role of community leaders in community empowerment and peace building in ASEAN community. We have 10 communities and we have 6 countries out of ASEAN community working together that include China, Japan, South Korea, India, Australia, and New Zealand. My research come up with the 8 roles that we have to play. I have no time to elaborate it. The first role is facilitator of dialogue. The second role is advocate for resources. The third one, the leaders have to be role models for members of the communities. The fourth one is mobilizer of action. The fifth is educator. The sixth one, it is very important this day, we call bridge builders. We have to construct bridge in order to bridge the gap between communities in all concerned. Number 7 is cultural preservation and promotion. And the 8th role is about promoters of economic development. In summary, I would like to say, and I would like to read what I show here. The first one, community empowerment is vital for creating resilient, engaged, and thriving communities that can effectively address their challenges and improve the quality of life for all residents. Second, community peace building is an integrated approach that involves collaboration, education, and proactive measures to create and sustain a peaceful and harmonious environment. Third, community empowerment in Thailand is a multifaceted approach that emphasizes participation, capacity building, economic development, and social cohesion. It leads to more resilient and self-sufficient community. The fourth one, overall, peace-building initiatives in Thailand emphasize dialogue, community empowerment, and collaboration among various stakeholders, regardless of religious group, business group, or there is everyone have to participate in order to create more harmonious and stable society. Finally, community leaders are essential in creating empower resilient communities that can work together to build and sustain peace. Hence, community leaders in ASEAN are pivotal in facilitating dialogues, promoting inclusivity, educating members, and fostering economic and cultural development, all essential for empowerment and peace building. With this, I end my presentation by asking you all to work hard together in order to bring about peace to the real world. Inshallah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much Prof. Pakorn. So basically apa yang kita dapat ya daripada yang beliau kupas adalah dari segi strategi ya. Apakah strategi yang terbaik ya harus diterapkan ya oleh pemimpin masyarakat bagi melibatkan ya lebih ramai belia dengan inisiatif pemberdayaan komuniti dan juga kedamaian. Okey, seterusnya kita pergi kepada panel yang ketiga, iaitu yang tak asing lagi ya dengan kita, iaitu Dr. Ahmad Al-Muhammady, merupakan Assistant Professor SIDANG UIA, dan beliau ini mempunyai kepakaran yang cukup unik ya dalam bidang menangani radikalisme ya, di mana first degree masters dan PhD beliau adalah political science dan PhD dalam Muslim world issues. Jadi tanpa melengahkan masa, saya mengalu-alukan ya Dr. Ali untuk meneruskan, Dr. Ahmad untuk meneruskan slot beliau.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pertama sekali, terima kasih kepada WADAH di atas jemputan dan juga kepimpinan yang ada pada hari ini, dan saya sebagai panelis yang terakhir pada petang ini ingin merakamkan jutaan ataupun terima kasih dan juga tahniah kepada anda semua kerana masih berada di sini sehingga petang hari ya. Menyambung perbincangan kita tentang pemberdayaan komuniti dan penggerak kedamaian, peranan pemimpin masyarakat dalam komuniti ASEAN ini, saya ada beberapa poin yang ingin dikongsikan. Sekurang-kurangnya ada dua soalan yang saya ingin jawab, iaitu yang pertamanya adalah mengapa pemimpin masyarakat perlu memainkan peranan penting dalam komuniti ASEAN, dan yang keduanya apakah aspek dan sektor utama yang mereka boleh berperanan. Untuk permulaannya, ada tiga trust komuniti ASEAN yang kita perlu faham apabila berbicara tentang dalam konteks ASEAN ini, iaitu yang pertamanya ASEAN Political Security Community, yang kedua ASEAN Economic Community, dan yang ketiga ASEAN Social Cultural Community. Inilah yang menjadi trust kepada aktiviti dan juga kelangsungan ASEAN sehingga hari ini. Kalau tuan-tuan dan puan lihat yang pertama dan yang kedua ya, poin ataupun trust yang pertama dan yang kedua, iaitu political security dan juga economic community, dua perkara ini ataupun dua trust ini memang menjadi trust utama ataupun latar belakang pada aktiviti ASEAN. Tetapi yang terakhir itu sebenarnya kurang mendapat perhatian, dan inilah yang saya ingin bawa pada petang ini. Dan kita juga melihat kepada cabaran di peringkat ASEAN ini adalah sebagaimana yang saya sebutkan, trust yang pertama dan yang kedua itu sentiasa menjadi agenda utama dalam ASEAN, dan trust yang ketiga tidak kurang mendapat perhatian setara. Dan juga kebanyakan program adalah inisiatif negara, iaitu state driven initiative. Mana kalau kita bercakap tentang NGO ni apa semua, ia tidak begitu dapat peluang bekerjasama ataupun bernaung di bawah ASEAN ini. Kalau ada sekalipun, ia hanya NGO yang terpilih, dan oleh itu kita boleh katakan ia tidak inklusif. Dan satu perkara lagi yang mungkin amat pentingnya adalah program itu tidak membumi ini adalah pandangan saya je lah. Mungkin ada yang kurang setuju, tapi saya nampaknya adalah ia tidak membumi dan impak yang terhad kepada masyarakat. Dan mungkin ada setengah orang melihat ASEAN ini sebagai satu kelompok yang too elitis ataupun eksklusif, yang hanya dapat dimanfaatkan oleh orang tertentu sahaja. Dan apatah lagi, polisi ASEAN ini adalah satu perkara yang sangat ketara, iaitu non-interference, terutama apabila melibatkan isu sensitif ini. Jadi Datuk Azam, mungkin ya Malaysia memerlukan kepakaran anda dalam menepani isu-isu yang susah untuk negara uruskan secara state to state. Ia perlu mendapat kepakaran tertentu daripada orang-orang tertentu untuk menyelesaikannya dengan secara low profile gitu. Jadi saya ingin cadangkan bahawa kita perlu perkasakan teras tiga, iaitu ASEAN Socio Cultural Community, dengan memberi peluang luas kepada pemimpin masyarakat untuk menyumbang di peringkat ASEAN. Dan ia boleh dilakukan dalam banyak sektor kerana ASCC ini mencakupi banyak aspek berkaitan dengan budaya dan masyarakat, yang berkaitan dengan pendidikan, belia, kesihatan, budaya, wanita dan lain-lain aspek. Kita boleh tengok dalam dokumen ASEAN bahawa Trust 3 ini banyak benda yang kita boleh buat, dan saya fikir oleh kerana Malaysia akan memegang chairmanship of ASEAN tahun depan, kita perlu melakukan kesediaan untuk ke arah itu. Jadi sarananya adalah membumikan ASEAN melalui Trust Komuniti Sosial Budaya, sepatutnya menjadi fokus ya pemimpin komuniti di peringkat ASEAN ini. Dan saya ingin sebutkan juga bahawa penubuhan maqasid yang diilhamkan oleh WADAH itu merupakan satu inisiatif yang sangat baik dan relevan untuk ASEAN. Dan saya memang sepenuhnya menyokong gagasan itu dengan membawa gabungan kepakaran NGO ya bersama akademia, social aktivis, agamawan, budayawan dan wakil kerajaan duduk sekali melaksanakan strategi collaboration dengan pelbagai pihak, badan bukan kerajaan dan pemimpin masyarakat. Dan mungkin di antaranya kita boleh mewujudkan Madani Fellowship for Peace yang datang daripada negara-negara ASEAN ini sebagai salah satu inisiatif untuk membina pemimpin di peringkat negara ASEAN itu. Dan saya fikir kita di Malaysia ini, saya fikir melalui ABIM misalnya, ya, yang telah berada di persada NGO dunia, di peringkat dunia ini sudah lebih 50-60 tahun begitu. ABIM telah berjaya memberi impak yang besar, bukan sahaja di peringkat kebangsaan tapi juga di peringkat antarabangsa. Dan mereka berjaya menghasilkan pemimpin-pemimpin yang hebat yang boleh beraksi di peringkat antarabangsa, sebagaimana yang kita boleh lihat pada hari ini, iaitu Perdana Menteri sendiri yang menjadi salah satu contoh itu. Jadi we need to duplicate sistem ini kepada negara lain. Itu poinnya. Oleh itu pemimpin masyarakat ya perlu mengambil peluang untuk perkasakan trust ASCC ini melalui membumikan ASEAN, melalui trust sosio budaya, dan perlu fokus pada dua perkara. Program-program dan juga aktiviti yang akan dilaksanakan itu harus memberi impak kepada masyarakat ataupun real impact to society, kerana sebagaimana yang saya sebutkan tadi di peringkat awal tadi, kebanyakan program ASEAN ini dia tidak sampai kepada masyarakat. Dia hanya duduk di peringkat orang tertentu, kelompok tertentu saja. Kalau boleh ia turun kepada masyarakat supaya masyarakat boleh menikmati kesan-kesan ataupun projek-projek yang ASEAN cuba lakukan. Dan yang terakhirnya adalah membina pemimpin, building leaders. Ini juga salah satu perkara yang penting. Kita sudah ada, mungkin Malaysia sudah boleh dijadikan sebagai contoh, dan kita perlu melihat kepada negara-negara lain, terutamanya memfokuskan komuniti Muslim di negara ASEAN ini untuk membina ramai lagi pemimpin yang macam kita ada pada hari ini ya, daripada Vietnam, daripada Cambodia ya, mungkin daripada Myanmar dan Laos. Kita perlu mencari pemimpin ini dan meramaikan lagi mereka ini dengan memberi sokongan-sokongan tertentu. Saya fikir itu saja daripada saya yang ingin dikongsikan. Semoga bermanfaat Dan saya sudahi dengan wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Dr. Ahmad atas pembentangan yang cukup ringkas, padat ya, dan masih lagi ada certain masa lah sebenarnya ya. Jadi saya buka kepada beberapa soalan. Siapa nak mula? Okey, silakan. Kita kumpul soalan ya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum.
Saya ingin bertanya kepada Dr. Ahmad lah. Bercakap tentang aspek sosial dan pembangunan komuniti. Biasanya geran untuk penyelidikan yang ditawarkan oleh kerajaan sendiri agak limited. Apa usaha kita untuk melobi kerajaan sendiri ada, ataupun apakah channel yang sesuai untuk kita menyuarakan betapa pentingnya peluang geran penyelidikan untuk membangunkan aspek berkenaan? Terima kasih.
Okey, Dr. Ahmad sila jawab terus ya. Boleh? Mic.
Terima kasih atas soalan. Ada dua perkara yang mungkin saya nak boleh sebut. Pertama sekali, memang saya akui bahawa dalam konteks sains sosial, kajian yang berkaitan dengan sains sosial dan juga non-sains lah begitu kan, secara umumnya tidak mendapat perhatian ataupun geran yang besar kalau ia berkait dengan kajian. Yang sains memang besar. Yang kedua, mungkin perlu ada usaha untuk melobi dan juga untuk mewujudkan satu conversation bahawa kepentingan kajian berkaitan dengan sains sosial, impact studies dan misalnya, dan apa-apa saja berkaitan dengan bidang sains sosial ini, kita perlu mewujudkan conversation itu. Dan pada pemerhatian saya, apa yang saya nampaknya adalah memang sudah ada kesedaran itu. Dan kita pada hari ini kita ada Datuk Zamri Abdul Kadir misalnya sebagai Menteri Pengajian Tinggi. Saya fikir dia ada kesedaran itu. Kita perlu mewujudkan conversation dan juga berjumpa, berbincang dan bagi tahu pada beliau bahawa perlu diwujudkan, perlu tambah kalau itu sudah ada. Dan yang keduanya berkaitan dengan geran-geran antarabangsa ni, bagi saya kalau kita tahu caranya, senang untuk dapat. Kalau kita tahu cara, itu pertama. Dan yang keduanya adalah isu apa yang kita bicarakan. Itu juga penting. Kadang-kadang ada isu-isu yang pada pandangan stakeholders tidak relevan dengan mereka, jadi mereka tidak bersedia untuk faham. Kalau isu itu memang kena dengan stakeholder punya interest, dan senang untuk dapat. Berdasarkan pengalaman saya, begitu. Ada beberapa geran yang saya dapat, saya tidak minta. Bukan saya nak kata saya itu, tidak. Dia suruh saya minta. Kerana isu itu berkaitan, terutamanya berkaitan dengan solving social problem, menyelesaikan masalah. Jadi kita perlu juga pergi turun ke dalam masyarakat. Dan di sini saya nampak perlu ada kolaborasi di antara NGO dan juga badan kerajaan, bukan badan kerajaan ni, bekerjasama supaya kita boleh menyediakan input-input yang terbaik untuk masalah yang dihadapi. Dan dengan itu kita dapat manfaat bersama. Thank you.
Ada apa lagi persoalan?
Satu lagi.
Sila.
Assalamualaikum.
Okay.
Saya nama Zulkaf. Saya sangat tertarik dengan pandangan Dr. Ahmad yang pendek tapi sangat berisi. Dan saya mesti kena pick up this idea, this point. Tu kita sekian lama, 30 tahun saya sebut. Tu NGO, front NGO yang kadang-kadang tak diiktiraf. Yang kedua tak tersusun. Now we are chairing pemimpin kita mempengerusikan ASEAN kan, jadi Perdana Menteri Malaysia. So kita kena buat the move yang nombor satu, gerakan society ataupun komuniti ini diiktiraf. Jadi saya nak merumuskan ataupun nak mencadangkan 3 perkara. Yang pertama, kita kena ada satu Council of Islamic Education and Da'wah for ASEAN countries ini. Sebab kerja-kerja pendidikan dan dakwah di negara-negara ASEAN, Muslim country, kita 46% Muslim dalam negara ASEAN, 260 lebih juta. So sepatutnya kita ada satu sistem pendidikan yang standard, yang dapat dicontohi oleh Myanmar, oleh Cambodia, oleh Vietnam. Kita tak kongsi, kita masing-masing bawa. Sebab itu bila kita pergi dakwah di Cambodia, kita buka sekolah, macam-macam sekolah ada di sana. Sekolah Habib ada, sekolah gym ada, sekolah perkim ada, sekolah private ada. Jadi tak terpusul. Jadi kita kena ada satu council untuk mengawas. Satu. Yang kedua, economics. Kita pun tidak ada penyusunan. So kita mencadangkan supaya forum ataupun hari ini mencadangkan kepada kerajaan endorse satu council untuk buat kerja-kerja kepentingan umat Islam. Dan yang ketiga, akhir sekali, penentuan sumber wakaf, zakat, ini juga harus take the lead. ABIM WADAH kena lead, menasihatkan kerajaan supaya membantu membina wakaf peringkat ASEAN ini untuk membantu negara-negara Islam di ASEAN ini yang lain. Sekian, terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Soalan kepada Dr. Ahmad dari segi pengurusan dan juga standardization council dan juga pengurusan.
Ya.
Okey.
Terima kasih kepada saudari yang tanya itu. Saya fikir idea yang ditengahkan itu sangat baik dan ini sesuai dengan peranan Malaysia ataupun pusingan Malaysia menjadi chairman of ASEAN. Saya duk fikir kenapa maknanya dari segi aspek pemimpin masyarakat dan NGO di negara ASEAN ini tidak boleh bergerak ini kerana mungkin tidak ada kepala, tidak ada orang kata pengulu. Jadi oleh kerana tahun depan Malaysia akan jadi pengulu ataupun ialah kita ada authority di situ untuk menjalankan aktiviti dan WADAH sudah mencadangkan maqasid ini. Kita boleh ambil idea yang dicadangkan tadi itu dan letak menjadi salah satu inisiatif di bawah maqasid tadi. Dan dengan itu kita boleh berfungsi. Dan itu yang saya sebut tadi. This is Malaysia's turn to take this opportunity to make some different. Sebabnya dah banyak tahun ASCC ini ada. Saya ingat dalam 2015 kemungkinan macam tu. Tetapi dia tidak digerakkan dengan secara aktif dan tidak membumi. Jadi bila WADAH mencadangkan itu, saya fikir this is the right time dan ia boleh membuka mata banyak lagi orang untuk membantu dan juga bekerjasama dengan organisasi ini. Jadi idea tadi itu dan juga idea berkaitan dengan wakaf dan masjid dan sebagainya itu sangat baik, kita perlu letak di bawah maqasid ini. Dan dengan itu dia boleh jadi satu aktiviti khusus. Terima kasih.
Okey, alhamdulillah saya rasa kesemuanya telah pun bersetuju dengan pandangan. Jadi saya rasa dah tamatlah untuk sesi 3. So lagi sekali saya memberikan ucapan terima kasih kepada ketiga-tiga panel untuk sidang 3. Satu lagi pantun daripada saya, pantun terakhir. Tamat sudah sidang 3. Boleh saya tahu apa pandangan kalian? Semoga semua pembentangan ini sangat bermakna untuk kita semua dalam melestari tema keterangkuman dan kemampanan. Sekian, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih kepada Profesor Teknologi Dr. Zuriati Ahmad Zulkarnain atas kesudian untuk mengemudi acara sidang ketiga kita pada petang ini dan juga kepada para panelis atas perbincangan yang produktif sebentar tadi. Majlis seterusnya menjemput yang berbahagia Dr. Muhammad Razak Idris, Setiausaha Politik kepada Menteri di Jabatan Perdana Menteri Hal Ehwal Agama untuk naik ke atas pentas menyampaikan cenderahati sebagai tanda penghargaan kepada para panelis dan juga moderator. Dipersilakan. Dipersilakan yang pertama Dr. Alizaman di Gamon daripada Filipina. Seterusnya Associate Professor Dr. Pakorn Priyakorn dari Thailand. Dan seterusnya yang terakhir Dr. Ahmad Muhammady dari Malaysia. Dan moderator kita Profesor Teknologis Dr. Zuriati Ahmad Zulkarnain. Baik, saya jemput untuk kepada panelis untuk bergambar bersama-sama di depan.